Well, you're welcome back to the AM Club right here on MX24. My name is Miriam Uduak-Mensah. We're getting into the big conversation for this morning. My guests are already seated. Before we get into our conversation, well, I advise you, my team and I would like to advise people to drink water and mind your business. Like the business that pays you, you have to mind it. But people don't like to listen. But we're telling you this morning, please drink water and mind the business that pays you, okay? The business that pays you. And you cannot just drink any water. Jibu water is our recommendation. It is healthy, it is hygienic, it is the best on the market with options of our innovative 20-liter bottles that come with a tap and 18.9-liter bottles. Your dispensers will have a breath of new life as our clean and hygienic Jibu water flows through them for your consumption. So whether you need a cool drink to quench your thirst or fresh cooking water to make your meals taste its best, Jibu water is the answer to your clean water needs. Contact us today on 020-9845817. That's 020-9845817. Or visit our website at www.jibuco.com/gh for more information about our brand. Jibu water, a better life. Looking for a quick, delicious and authentic meal that brings the rich flavors right to your table? Well, try Coca Oriental instant noodles. Unlike other instant noodles, Coca noodles are air-dried, not deep fried, offering you a healthier, flavorful choice. Coca Oriental noodles are available in both sachet and convenient 70-gram cups with a seasoned sachet. Now, for your tasty 70-gram cups, simply add hot water and the season cover for 2 minutes, then stir and enjoy. Whether you prefer original chicken, spicy stir-fried, or original vegetable, Coca has not something for everyone. Perfect for busy lifestyles like yours, students and or anyone who loves a great taste with convenience. Grab your pack of Coca Oriental instant noodles today and experience the perfect blend of quality, flavor, and heritage. For bulk purchase, call us on 053-6930-956 or 0266721234. Coca Oriental noodles, your delicious choice. And it is so delicious. This advert is FDA approved. Now, into our conversation for this morning. I was telling you earlier that my first time sitting in an electric vehicle, I was wondering, what are we doing here? Are we about to die? Because this guy is moving on his own. And obviously, this wasn't in Ghana, because if it was in Ghana, me, I won't sit inside. But we're going to be getting into that conversation. For our big conversation, we're discussing the evolution of electric vehicles. And joining us for this conversation, Peter Eygin-Mensah. Is that, I did pronounce that well? Okay, right. Founder and Chief Operating Officer, Eygin-Limited. Right, and Sheena Siubaini, General Manager at Wopeka, my personal person. I was going to say something, but I just realized that now I cannot say it. Good morning, how are we doing?
Hi, good morning.
We're good?
Yes.
Good.
Awesome. Electric vehicles. It is something that we're looking, it looked far-fetched at the time when the conversation was being had. And so we're saying that, listen, it might come to Ghana about maybe 2050. But it's here. And I think it's one of those very common ones on the streets now. You see small cars that are electric vehicles. People are using the hybrid now also in Ghana. But let's talk about how Ghanaians have embraced this conversation of owning electric vehicles. Let's start with you. What is the current statistics on who is using electric vehicles? What is the condition? Are people like excited to have them?
I think the market is embracing it well, and that's in partly due to some of the early work that was done by the Energy Commission, in terms of just laying the foundation, educating people on some of the benefits of making the transition. There was I think a department within the commission headed by Doris Agbevev. They did amazing work in terms of truly laying the foundation and educating people, both on the vehicle side and on the charging side. But people are embracing it. People see the benefits. They realize the economic impacts as well as the environmental impact that it can help bring to bear. So they're beginning to take advantage of that.
And you, Sheena, have very recently added to your fleet of cars electric vehicles. Why that decision, though?
Um,
And she was saying
I
something
was
earlier, the
just-
first rental company in Ghana.
yes.
Yes, she's owning it with her full chest.
To onboard an EV car. I'm just owning my part of driving change towards a more sustainable Ghana, or as you may, the globe, the world. If you followed our brand story, we are impacting, empowering young people, but we recently have also added this to also do our bits. The business model in itself, as a ride-sharing car rental company, is gearing towards that, and sustainability is where the future is.
Right.
If we are going to leave the earth in good shape for our kids, this is it.
Yeah. So tell me what it looks like right now in terms of finances. How to import cars in this country is not a joke. I like the smile. To buy a car from outside and bring it, the fees are just crazy. Are there any special arrangements for electric vehicles? Again, because they are more sustainable. They are conversations that help. They're products that helps with the conversation on sustainability. Do we have any special discount or anything on that?
Well, I believe in 2024, if I got my year correct, the government introduced a waiver, if you will, for vehicles that are being used for commercial purposes.
Okay.
I.e. buses and public transport type vehicles. They have introduced a waiver for those vehicles. Now, in terms of implementation, that there's still some ways to go there to see that fully brought to bear at the ports and within the GRA framework. But I think if we really hope to take full advantage of the benefits of EV, is going to need to expand beyond that, because even though the transport sector does use a lot of vehicles, most of the cars on the roads are for everyday people, and not necessarily there's a lot of buses and trotros on the roads, but you see a lot more personal vehicles than you do those cars. So I think there would need to be a national extension there for us to really realize the benefit. And yes, it's very expensive. And I mean, look, the government is in a tough situation. It needs the money. So you just have to balance the two and find innovative ways to make it worthwhile for everyone to consider.
And adding these cars to your fleet of cars and I was asking this and I love that you answered the question of the fact that it's expensive. So did you look at this cost that you're going to incur?
Okay, so the way my business model runs, I don't necessarily own all the cars that I rent out. Okay. And so it's actually a couple clients that we decided together to pilot our first EV car. So they had come into Ghana, used the service for about 2 years consistently, and thought, we use one where we are, and so we'd like to test what that looks like here. Yeah. Since we are, again, driving change towards like a more sustainable world. So we went through the back and forth. I won't even say it was easy, because it is quite expensive.
Isn't it?
The goal is to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, and so what's better time to start than now?
See, I wanted to just pick it. The upfront cost is expensive. However, the operational cost is far cheaper.
Okay, run us through that. Because I was going to ask you, what does it mean to own an electric vehicle? Run us through the technical benefits.
Okay, so technically, you have less than 200 components in an electric car, as opposed to your typical ICE vehicle, which has over 2,000. So less parts to worry about damaging, going bad, no oil changes, half of the fluids that you probably require in your typical ICE vehicle, you won't need in your EV. Right. So you can run an EV maybe for 2 years without even having to change your brake pads. Right? Why is that? Yeah. And there's this innovation called regenerative braking in a lot of EVs. Because EVs you're sending electricity to the motor when you accelerate or you put your foot, the minute you take your foot off the accelerator, there's no electricity going to the motor.
Yeah.
So the vehicle, it automatically starts slowing down. So the application of brakes is very minimal. We've had EVs for ride-hailing purposes on the road, and 2 years in, they're now even looking at having to change brakes. This is over 100,000 kilometers. So these things, all these benefits pile up over time. So yes, the upfront cost, because we lack the incentives for people to make the transition, is still relatively high. However, the operational cost over time, our company offers a subscription package for EV charging at our commercial stations. 900 Ghana cedis will get you the equivalent of like a full tank of fuel every day for an entire month. Just imagine that. Somebody spends that amount in like a week or even a couple of days of driving. So these are some of the benefits that you realize from making the transition.
So how does it work? So when you take the car to the charge point, you charge full. You have to charge.
No, it is advised that you don't let your vehicle drop below 20%.
Okay.
And you try to minimize charging beyond 80%. And that is, you can go beyond 80%. For instance, if you're planning a trip from Accra to Kumasi, it makes sense. You're going to utilize all of that power within a reasonable amount of time. So it's not just, you're not putting too much pressure on your batteries. You don't charge to 100% and let the vehicle sit in the sun. It's not good for the battery. It degrades your battery over time. So all of these things are things that you need to be aware of. But typically, most individuals will charge their vehicle at home. That is the best place, is the most convenient place to charge. And there are firms, including ours, out there now that do home installations for chargers. And that would cost you about 25 to 35 cedis to charge your vehicle at home overnight, from 20 to 80%.
Oh, I see. That's okay. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. But let's talk about the maintenance of these vehicles. You've touched on the fact that it's easy, but how do I make sure that my car is well taken care of? Because again, it might be easy to maintain. You don't have the parts you don't have to worry about parts and all of that. But how do I maintain that? Because again, we know it's
a machine.
It's a machine.
And
yeah, it's a machine, so you have to maintain it. How do you maintain that?
It's similar, very similar to your regular cars. Usually quarterly, you'll need to get it in for servicing. For EVs, one of the key things that is typically done on a quarterly basis is the tire rotation, because most, at least initially, now the batteries are being kind of put under the vehicle, and it's the weight of the batteries evenly dispersed. But and a lot of times in the past, they tended to kind of weigh heavy on the back of the vehicle, so the back tires wore a lot faster. So just being able to rotate the tires consistently to ensure even wear, so you're not always having to change like the back tires versus the front tires always being fine.
What's the time duration?
I would recommend for every 3 months that you go in for servicing, the team should do a rotation of the tire, and not change, just a rotation. Diagonal rotations typically work. Top up of fluids, coolant, brake fluid if that's running low. You don't have to do a gearbox, and it's not your traditional gearbox, it's just a bit different, but you don't have to change that oil till sometimes maybe 30, 60,000 kilometers in. So those are not too big, but just making sure that all the other elements, electronics and everything is working properly on the vehicle. It's just the traditional checks that happen on the maintenance cycles.
Okay, all right. So let's talk partnership, right? You have started one, and you seem very excited about it. What about this partnership excites you so much?
So basically, it's just me piloting my first EV car, and I've had conversations with Peter. Meeting Peter, the future is exciting. for companies like him, I don't want to own cars. I don't want the stress. I can be bothered with the stress. I just need to bring convenience, reliability to people, and recently added sustainability. So if there are companies like Eygin-Mensah that can give me a car that I can rent out for lease, why not? It only adds to my fleet, and it serves the country in a more sustainable way.
But then, like you rightly said, you started something new. I know a lot of companies were in Ghana. A lot of companies are going to be start introducing EV cars to their fleet of cars. What are the recommendations? What should anyone who's starting such a partnership look out for?
Just like Peter has said, there's nothing to look out for. We are all looking out for the world, as it were. The only thing is the upfront cost, which, like he said, I think somewhere late 2023 into 2024, the government is looking into waivers, into bringing out or importing EV cars. And so that in itself is a good thing. What we should be looking out for, again, is a more sustainable future, which is what we are doing. So not much, just... buying into the EV cars. Basically.
Do you think we're going to get to a point where all these traditional cars that what do you even call them? ICE cars will be out of the system, and electric cars are going to take over?
That is an interesting interesting thought. I think it's going to be a gradual transition. But you have a lot of vested interest in the current status quo that you would have said a lot of apples if you were just to say no more ICE vehicles. A lot of economies and a lot of industries and a lot of countries would be hurt with such a transition. So with most things, it has to be gradual. And even with EVs now, you'll see that recently in the U.S., some of the big automakers, some of the promises they had made in terms of the investment they were going to make towards EVs, they're starting to reverse on some of those. But I appreciate what countries like China are doing, and some of the Nordic countries, like how far advanced they are with their transition. And China's continuing to push because they see the benefit. It's too smart a change not to make. We've relied on fossil fuels for the last century. Maybe it's time to explore something else. To see how we can benefit.
We've talked all the positive things about electric vehicles. I'm very sure there are some negatives that we should look out for. Just like every technological invention, we have some downsides to it that if we do not pay attention to, like the other time my friends and I in Nigeria were arguing about ChatGPT. I was like, it will slow people's minds. The more you rely on ChatGPT. My first time using ChatGPT, everybody knew that I used ChatGPT. I was like, because I couldn't find my way around it. So, I mean, just like every technological invention, we probably have downsides to that. Can you share with us some of the things that could be downsides to electric vehicles?
I think for starters, obviously safety is always a big thing. Early on, you had issues of the safety of the battery, the chemistry of the batteries being reliable, maybe fires and things of that sort. But with where we are now and where we're going, I think we're I would almost venture to say, close to being past that particular issue. For new markets like ours, relatively nascent, the biggest challenge, if you will, would be the necessary charging infrastructure that is required to everywhere you turn. Take a stone throw away from this location, you'll find a filling station. Charge points really needs to get to that level in order for EVs to become more ubiquitous. And that takes time because that is a big investment in terms of cost. However, anyone making that investment now likely won't see their money back right away. So it's just being strategic about how you deploy that infrastructure and making sure that the deployment of that infrastructure can also maybe even help and or augment current existing grid systems. That might be a way to not to turn that negative into a positive, right? So I I'm one of those people that see a lot more positive.
I figured.
very little negative with this transition. Yeah.
I think it's also a challenge or setback in the interim. In that, like he's saying, there are not a lot of charging spots in Ghana. So when you think about it, really it's just the charging ports, and that's what potential renters are worried about. They'll ask questions like, oh, how do I, assuming I was going from here to Kumasi, how do I get there? But the good thing is at least the car that I have is able to take you to Kumasi and back when you have charged it at a full battery. So we're good.
And to complement that, we've also developed our own line of chargers that you can take with you, and it works with your standard Ghanaian sockets. So anywhere you find yourself in Ghana, anywhere that has a standard socket, you're able to plug in and charge your vehicle.
Did you at any point in this conversation, because if you did, then I missed it, tell us how much it would cost, how much electricity it would cost to charge the car to even 80%?
Yeah, and that's what I was, so for a vehicle that is around maybe, let's say, 28 kilowatt hour battery, you might be looking at about, now at the current tariffs, close to about 40 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
To charge from 20 to 80%.
Okay, that's
on
cool.
Residential tariffs, right? Because if you're doing a commercial charge, commercial firms have a different tariff range then, so it will be slightly different. But
that makes sense. Because nobody buys fuel for 40 citizens.
Exactly, right? So yes,
nobody buys fuel for 40
consistently, maybe in a span of a week, you're charging, say, about 100. It also depends on your itinerary or your drive. Yeah. So if you're paying, say, 100, 150 on a weekly basis, that's fair.
It is.
That's beyond
completely fair. So you guys know that now we're about to buy electric vehicles, right? But does it depend on the size of the car?
Yes, the battery. Yes, the bigger the car, typically the bigger the battery size, and the bigger the battery size, it's like the bigger the tank, the more you have to pour in. Yeah. So same concept.
Makes absolute sense. Okay, now let's come back to Wuppertal. You recently celebrated how many years?
8.
8 years in business. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Your entire team. Do you have men in your team now?
Yes.
How many?
Oh,
do you have?
I've always had men. What is...
Because people actually, you know that people actually think you're all women in there.
We have men, maybe 4.
4 men, and how many women? Like 20. Okay, that's okay. In fact, we're not even angry about it at all. We're not angry at all. But 8 years. Tell me how business has been. 8 years.
Amazing, exponential growth. You see that there's a market for the industry with consistency, reliability, and the right kind of mindset. I wouldn't say it's been easy. It's been the most exhilarating 4 years.
Especially when you have clients like Mimi.
In terms of being a car rental aggregator, that's also the thing. But happy to be here. It's been an amazing ride. Looking forward to it.
Another 8 years.
Partnering with
another 8 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a household name. I'm not joking.
Because there was a day I decided to look you up. I'm like, how did she actually get here?
I know.
Because I knew about Wuppertal, say about 3 or 4 years ago. Yes, I got to know about you 4 years ago. And at the time I was in business. See, I've retired. It's not for the week at all. But I'm so proud of you. Listen, I'm so proud of you and your team over there. You guys are doing amazing.
Thank you so much.
And now you've actually imprinted your names on the minds of Ghanaians. They need a car, they're thinking Wuppertal. I think you've done a great job. So congratulations. We're going to talk about how to get business from you, but I'm going to jump right back to you. Eygin-Mensah Limited. Is that the pronunciation?
Eygin-Mensah.
Eygin-Mensah. Eygin-Mensah, tell us about Eygin-Mensah.
Eygin-Mensah is a Ghanaian firm, launched about 3.5 years ago. Prior to that, we were doing a little bit of, field work, trying to understand the market and the model of the business that we wanted to roll out. But effectively what we're doing is we're deploying a charging network across Ghana. We have bigger goals of being able to charge a vehicle all the way from South Africa to Northern Africa one day.
Best on that one.
Yes, yeah. And most of our charge points are solar based. So it's powered primarily by solar, and we are also integrating wind with the grid as a backup. And we also create a pathway to EV ownership through lease-to-own arrangements for drivers, primarily drivers that are in the ride-hailing sector and the taxi sector. But yes, for individuals, we have lease packages, either a 2-year monthly, 4-year monthly situation. It can even go up to 6 years, and the same for corporate bodies as well.
And when is this one enrolled? When are you starting this project?
Oh, it's already active.
Is it?
Yes.
So how do people get access to?
You can either reach out to us or check out our website, and we'll be able to provide you with the necessary information that you require. Yep. We also have a maintenance center at North Industrial Area where we service and maintain strictly EVs.
Okay. Right. Oh, that's wonderful. In Ghana.
In Ghana.
Didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Opeka. How do we contact you? How do we get a car? What's the process? Run us through getting a car, especially because I know that people who would want to come and rent the EV to just try. If you have never driven one before, you would definitely want to try that. How do you do
So it's Wopeka across all social media platforms, WOPCAR, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. At this rate, we're everywhere. You can't miss us.
Like,
Let's go, Wopeka.
Hello, Ma. How does it feel to be everywhere?
I feel like a celeb. I'm a celeb.
Because you literally can see them everywhere. I mean, it's amazing to watch. It's really amazing to watch you grow into such an incredible business.
Thank you.
Okay, so Wopeka on all social media platforms. If I wanted to get a car, go on the website.
You actually have to call me. Just wopeka.com.
Yeah.
You book a car, is delivered.
Awesome. Details on what you would need to.
Driver's license, Ghana card, proof of residence for the self-drive option.
Absolutely. Listen, this conversation has been great. I think this is at this point we have to start a whole campaign on people using EVs in Ghana. I want to be able to be a part of that campaign. Okay, let's do that. I think it's really also exciting to see this evolution happen. Like I said earlier, we did not think it would get to Ghana soon. Because elsewhere it was already in the system, and the first time I sat in a car that was driving itself, bro, I was with my sister. I was freaking out. I was like, can't wake up, we here for you. But it was a good ride, and so we don't have that in Ghana yet.
No, I think you have the cars with the capability.
But we haven't used them yet.
But and again, it depends on the owner, and driving habits here. It's not. I'm not so sure you can program some of those obstacles into some of the AIs that operate those vehicles.
It's difficult because.
But it's not impossible. I think there are parts of Ghana where you can use an autonomous vehicle and it will probably function okay.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know yet, but I guess definitely maybe in your area where it's probably a Trasaco or East Legon. Not this part of East Legon, the other side of East Legon. But gentlemen and lady, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. It has been really great. I hope you follow them on all social media platforms. You have a social media page,
yes,
right?
we are. It's, all of them. I believe it's at Eygin-Mensah.
Okay, Eygin-Mensah. Just follow them on social media to get more updates about what they do here in Ghana. If you're interested in this new evolution, I'm sure you want to get to know about them. But yes, this has been the Lifestyle Daily segment of the AM Club. We're moving straight to the plug right up to this.